us, Fullcontact Karate and coffee. We're good to go. Well, um, yes, it's been a while since last time I posted a video, but as everything else, you have to have time to do what you want to do. And time is essential, of course, and that will be also something to think about when we are discussing today's topic. That is the umbrella organization, Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization, that was the start, but World Fullcontact Karate Organization. This autumn, it will be held a European Championship held by the European Fullcontact Karate Organization, with a possibility to qualify into the World Championship the year after, in 2025. So, what is this all about? To begin a little bit back in time, the first tournament in Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization tournament was held in 2014. But they had done some research and some had been proactive working to make this happen before 2014. So already back in 2012, in the Shinkai All Japan Open in weight categories, held every year in the spring and the open weight in the autumn. That's always the way they have organized that. So in 2012, the message came out from Wfko, Shinkai, if someone from another organization will climb up on the podium, on the top on the podium, they will have the possibility to represent Japan in the World Cup in Lithuania in 2013. World Cup, now we know, not called World Cup anymore. It was the World Championship in weight categories. All these are long names for tournaments. So, with this mechanism, you will see if there are any interest for other organizations coming into your tournament. But you have to have a carrot. You have to have something to tease with. And that was the possibility to represent Japan in Lithuania in the World Championship the year after. And it did happen actually. In the men's division, in the lightweight category, we had a young fighter, and actually that fighter has been one of the profiles in Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization's tournament after this. He did win the lightweight, Yuto Fukuchi, and he from Björkren Kaikan. He did win the tournament, and he did represent Japan in Lithuania. And it was kind of funny because many didn't know that he was coming from another organization. And many was wondering, oh, who is this guy? And it was a little bit confusing around that point, but anyway, that he was the first one that maybe people watched him and saw, okay, it's possible to happen. It's actually, he did win, and he moved on further on to a higher level with the World Championship actually. So, but and this was in he did win in 2012, and also 2013. It was the old Shinkai All Japan Open weight category was also held, but then they made a change. They changed the name to All Japan Open Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization. They removed the Shinkai name and promoted the Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization. So they didn't add a new tournament. They replaced it, and that's a key. That's a key, because we know that it's a lot of tournaments. If you only are adding tournaments, you will have a result that you have too many tournaments and not enough fighters, because they are spread out on too many tournaments. So this is, yeah, it's on the world basis, it could be on the European basis, it could be how many in your nation. So that's the same. You have to balance this. You have to have not too many tournaments. You have to be balanced regarding to how many fighters you actually can have coming to your tournament. So that's a point. The Japan Fullcontact Karate Organization worked very good. More fighters was coming in from other organizations. And the first event in 2014, we could see on the podium that we had several other organizations coming up and showing really good skills, and then it becomes very interesting. So this was a natural, healthy growth, and the number of fighters in the categories was very high, and that is also a clue, because it's really something to win a big tournament, of course. But this is also special for Japan. Of course, it's a lot of fighters there. It's hard to compare with Europe. So it's not the same thing. For me, I can't see that you can take the same system and use it. You have to adjust quite something to make it happen in Europe, for example. So I will come back to that. But in Japan, it was a healthy, nice growth. And in 2018, we had the first tournament where overseas fighters was coming into Japan as well. It was open. Someone call it the first World Fullcontact Karate Organization Championship. Someone call it the international first, and it's a little bit confusing by using the name. But anyway, the level was sky high. The categories was packed with very many strong fighters. It was really a good tournament. And our friend Wfko Fukuchi, he did also win the middleweight. He's been there from the start and up. But I remember watching it. I think it was 4 weight categories, and as I said, the level could easily be a world championship. We had in the super heavyweight, we had Kembu Iriki did win, and I believe in the top 8 in the super heavyweight, we had Kembu Iriki, Yui Shimamoto, Ochai on the 3rd, I believe, Sakinski from Lithuania on the 4th, Masur on 5th, Yakolev from Kazakhstan on 6th, and I think it was Kamayama on 7th, and Watanabe on the 8th, Kazuya Watanabe on 8th. So that was that's the top 8 on the super heavyweight. And Kato did win the light heavyweight, and he had Hasanov on 4th or something, 3rd or 4th. It was really tough tournament. So that was a result of a healthy growth, and this was building up, but we had a break during the COVID, and they have to cancel the tournaments, and everything has been held back a little bit, and now it's coming up again. In Europe, we had the first tournament in 2020, just before the COVID shut down everything. So that was sad, but anyway, it made the tournament. Held in Belgium. A nice tournament, of course. We many had a little feeling of being in Diamond Cup, maybe, but anyway, it was a mix of several organizations. But as in Japan, the Shinkyokushinkai was dominant to come into the fight into the tournament with a lot of fighters, and Two reasons for that. They had the capacity was best, so they had more fighters to come with, and of course they are closer to the core when it comes to organize, so it's natural to support the tournament as well. So, but as I said, that was 2020, so everything was cooled down during the, as everything else, the COVID, and now it's up again. So we will have a tournament now in autumn. Uh, so yeah, I thought about the tournament in Europe. In this case, it's a tournament being added to every other tournament, and that was what I said previous, that the Japanese system, they removed the tournament. They took the Shinkai weight tournament and only, or more or less just changed the logos and the names and name, so they have another tournament. In Europe we are adding a tournament, and I can see that will be a challenge because the schedule are full already, and not many countries have such a large and strong team to come into high profile tournaments every month. And it will be a question of how are we going to support every large tournament. So that will be a little bit challenging part. And of course, like the economic question, if you are going into larger tournament, it will cost you more. So you have, maybe you have to choose, and we have many countries now, like in Norway, the economical part in Norway now is quite tough, has been for some years. It's really tough for many people, and we can see many of the business in Norway is going not so good at all. Many have to cancel everything and are going on welfare, matter of fact. So it's a really tough economical system, time in Norway now, been for a couple of years. And of course this will also matter when you come into what you're doing on the spare time. You have to have money to travel, plane and hotel, and going into the tournament, of course. And if you are traveling, maybe you have to, if you're working, you have to take a day off the work, and you lose your income that day as well. So the question of money is it can be quite tough. But if you have the regular the wheel of the year, when you have your tournament and your camps you are going to, you know exactly this is the same like last year, like the 5 years before that. Then you have you have control of your activity and measured up against your economy. So that will be easier. But when you are adding more tournaments, it could be really hard for many to support everything. So I believe for someone that will be quite tough. And also, if you can do that, it will be tough to go into a major tournament with a short time in between, and especially if you're not on the absolute top level. You can maybe in the mid level, so you have a couple of fights, 2 to 3 fights, but you are really getting beat up. You need time to recover. You can't just pop into a new tournament and do the same thing all over again. And if you're not totally recovered, you will most likely get injured and then you're out. So a high frequency on the tournaments, on the major tournaments, will also burn down the team a little bit. So you have to have, if you're a great nation, you can have like an A team coming in and fighting the one tournament, and you can change it to the B team. Maybe the team are equal in strength, but you can change the fighters going into the tournaments, so they will rest in between. And that also means that if you are going with your team same people are fighting every tournament with with little rest, fighting people who are in top shape because they have been resting while their comrades were fighting the last time. That will also tear down your team. So we have something that we have to think about when we are adding more activity into an already packed schedule. In my opinion, doesn't have to weigh in anything, but I think everything have to be balanced. Everything have to be balanced. So, and of course, it will be a question. It's a really cool thing this with the World Fullcontact Karate Organization and an umbrella organization building up to be a great thing. But we have to see that. But okay, I'm a member of. In my case, I'm a member of Wfko, Shinkai. They also have a open weight tournament, European tournament in autumn. Well, if I have to choose one of them, yep, there we are. So so we have a little bit of challenge coming into these tournaments. So, and we don't know the support from other organizations, as we saw in the Kyokushin World Union, sometimes struggled to fill the categories, and that's quite strange when you think about when you have an umbrella organization having a European Championship and the categories are not full. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And we saw it also in the first edition of the European Fullcontact Karate Organization in Belgium. The lightweight division for women was not bearing itself. We had few fighters. They were the fighter who was pretending was going in the tournament was splendid. They did a very good job. But of course they want more fights. And I think it was only 3 fighters, so maybe 4. So that is we need more more meat on the bone. So this is also something that that can be interesting to see, because every organization in Europe also are having their own European tournament and world tournament and everything. So the schedule will be with all the factors that I mentioned will be really tough to come around. Comparing to Japan, I can see if you're going into, you have to be a little bit more than interest like this. You have to be quite interested in how this thing works. But if you see the lineup and you're going through the lineup, okay, you will quite fast recognize the largest organization. Okay, these I have heard of all of these, but you will also see that you have quite many fighters from small organizations. It's almost not an organization, it's almost only a family dojo with a couple of dojos sending fighters in. And of course that is a completely different thing than we can think about in Europe. So that's very interesting to see how the Japanese environment are have the possibility to gather from the largest organization and down to dojos that is only driven by a family or something, like a family name or something like that. But every contribution is a good contribution, so that matter. So, but I don't think we can have the same thing in Norway, in Europe. So more or less, we will see. Probably we will see the largest organization coming in, and that's it. And it depends on how many fighter you can send into the tournament. I believe it will maybe be a regulated case that you can have 2 fighters in each category and something like that. And sorry, and maybe they have to loosen that up to fill the categories. I don't know. Things, if you have 2 fighters from each category in each category, you can send from your country, even though Is that possible? Not many organizations or countries can fill that quote. So that will be something that already that is a point of struggling with enough fighters. And unfortunately, I see some cases that the solution is to ask the larger nations to send more fighters. They're loosening up to two fighters per nation in the category, and you can send more. But that also that also choked down the small nation, because if you think about the strongest nation in Europe, like the absolute strongest nation, if you know that, okay, I'm going in tournament, things look good, yeah, it will be tough. I'm usually going, maybe winning 1 or 2 fights before I will be beat up against a Polish guy or from Lithuania or something. The strongest nation, the strongest nation. And if you see those countries allowed to, okay, but now they are in with 6 fighters in my category. Okay, so that will be, can be a little tougher to decide if you want to go into the tournament if we have not enough fighters, and that will be the solution. So, but I'm positive to see what this will bring. Really, it will be interesting to follow this. I'm not sure what it can give us. I think in Japan it's no problem at all. I think that is shown for many years, actually for 10 years, that this is only growing healthy, and it's taking step by step. And that is a point as well. If you are pushing these things and try to make things happen before the time is actually right, thing will collapse. This have to grow safe but sure. It have to grow naturally and have to grow healthy. So I'm very excited to see how the European region will work coming up now. Unfortunately, we had a break during the COVID, but it will be interesting to see. I think that's the question. How will it turn out? I like to follow the Japanese league in this, because the level and the number of fighters and all the organizations are really interesting to watch. It is so. Well, that was what I have on my mind. Everything, as usual, everything I had said don't have to weigh in. I'm only sharing things top of my head. So and it doesn't have to be correct everything as well. I can miss something, of course. So correct me if I'm wrong. No problem about that. If you like it, share, give a thumbs up. No problem for that. And I will see what the next case and my next topic will be. And maybe when it's a little bit less work, I have more time to do things like this. I will see. Take care. See you around.